got my coffee here, one of my simple pleasures in life. What I've also got is my Maverick 88 12 gauge shotgun. But safety first. We'll start up with the safety. It's off, and now it's on. Now let's check the chamber. Nothing's come out of the ejection port. We're clear. Now, Maverick 88 is a pump action budget shotgun, and it's made or assembled, I don't remember which specifically, by Maverick Arms in Eagle Pass, Texas, which is right there on the border of Mexico. Maverick Arms has been around since 1988, hence the 88 in the shotgun's model number. However, it wasn't until the following year that the shotgun was released to the public. And another shotgun that Maverick Arms makes is the over and under HS-12 shotgun, which does come in a few different variations. And Maverick is also a subsidiary of Mossberg & Sons. And Mossberg & Sons, in contrast, actually makes a plethora of different kinds of guns. The Maverick 88 has a 3-inch chamber, and it could take 3-inch shot shells, as well as 2 3/4 inches, but nothing longer than 3 inches. Depending on the variation, or rather the barrel, it could shoot birdshot, buckshot, and slugs. And there are different variations of the Maverick 88. This one here is a security model. It has a 18.5-inch barrel, has a beaded sight, and it comes with a 5-shot tubular magazine, and it can hold a 6th shot in the chamber. It's definitely ideal for close range shooting, and some security models actually come with a pistol grip and a folding stock. Others come with a 20-inch barrel with a 7-shot tubular magazine and can hold an 8th shot in the chamber. All of these are ideal for close range shooting. And another variation is the slug model, which you can get with a rifled barrel, rifled 24-inch barrel with open adjustable rifle sights. And you can also find a all-purpose model, which comes with a 28-inch barrel for 12 gauge and 26-inch barrel for 20 gauge. And I do believe that it comes with a modified choke, and those are a little bit more suitable for long-range shooting, like hunting or shooting skeet. Now, the Maverick 88 is ubiquitous. You could potentially find them just about anywhere shotguns are sold. And they are one of the most commonly owned shotguns here in the United States. And a big part of that is because they're quite inexpensive. I actually bought this one at Bi-Mart for only $200, and that was before the pandemic. And it does have a reputation for being very reliable and rugged. So it's a big reason why it appeals to a lot of people. Its cheaper price, its reliability, and its ruggedness is definitely attributed in a lot of ways to the pump action. Now, pump actions are arguably the most popular type of shotgun here in the United States. They're very reliable. They cycle quite well. In fact, I've even heard that they are more likely to keep cycling when they are dry and unlubricated far more than a semi-automatic would. Not to condescend or dismiss the semi-automatic shotgun in any way. And in general, too, pump actions are going to be your cheapest bet. I mean, there are a few exceptions, including the single shot break action shotgun and your old school bolt action shotgun, but those are not as readily available. And pump action is a faster repeating shotgun. However, when I first bought this thing, the action itself was a little bit stiff and a little harder to operate, but it took some time for it to loosen up a little bit and cycle a little bit more smoothly. But that is pretty common, and it certainly is not a deal breaker, at least not in my book. And I have definitely heard how people have had the same kind of experience. There are definitely some higher quality shotguns that pump and cycle far more smoother and easier than a Maverick. And now another key factor to the Maverick 88's popularity, and maybe to some extent this is the biggest key factor, is it is essentially the same thing as a Mossberg 500. Now the Mossberg 500 is one of the most successful and sought out shotguns out there. It's been used in militaries, it's been used in the police forces, and it is fairly inexpensive too, but it is a much higher quality shotgun than the Maverick 88, so it does definitely cost more. The Maverick 88 is just simply like a economic version of the Mossberg, so a lot of people tend to go a little bit more for the Maverick, whereas there are those who really want to have something that's a little bit more higher quality and something that they really feel that they could trust in a little bit more. In fact, the Mossberg actually does outdo the Maverick 88 in terms of gun ownership. So at first glance, sometimes depending on a Mossberg 500's configuration, they could be very hard to tell apart. However, there are also some variations of the 500 that differ by the Maverick 88 by night and day. Let's go over some of these key factors. Now, I do not have a Mossberg 500 to do a proper contrast, so please bear with me. So one of the most notable differences between the two is they have completely different safety setups. This is a cross-bolt safety, and with the Mossberg 500, they actually have a tank safety drilled on top of the receiver. And I do not know if it's the rule of thumb for a Mossberg 500 to be drilled and tapped on top of the receiver for optics, but the Maverick 88 does not come with that option. I do believe, though, you can get some adjustments and such that you can put certain kinds of optics on, but I'm not really sure how to do that. And another difference here, you might notice that there's no Sling Swivel. There is a hole here, though, a threaded hole, which it appears that you might be able to buy an aftermarket Sling Swivel to screw in. The Mossberg 500, though, typically does come with a Sling Swivel. And you actually can get like a special sling adjustment that you can clamp on right here above the fore end. So you can actually put a sling on if you want. Top of that, the Maverick 88 typically comes with a black synthetic stock. I mean, they always come with a synthetic stock. Most of the time it's black. But there are times, though, some security models will come with like a tannish gray color. And a lot of times Mossberg 500s will also come with synthetic stocks. But you could also find them with wood stocks and the mossy oak camouflage stock. And Maverick 88's butt stock is hollow, whereas when a Mossberg 500 comes with a synthetic stock, I believe their butt stock is going to be solid. Maverick 88 also comes with a blued finish. And some Mossberg 500s come with blued finishes as well, but they also come with other options. Some of those options include nickel and mossy oak camouflage. And going back to the stocks, you can actually swap out different stocks for the Maverick 88. I personally don't think I'm going to do any kind of upgrade on it. I personally like mine the way it is. You can actually see by the wear here on the bolt and the tubular magazine that this bad boy has seen some action. Pump action, that is. But moving on, you can kind of see these slide rails here. They attach to this end of the fore end, and this end attaches to the bolt, so that when you pull back on the pump, this end pushes the bolt back, and a spent case is ejected through the ejector port, and a new case is actually injected right into the chamber. Since 1990, Maverick 88s have been made with 2 slide rails, whereas when they first came out, they only had 1, so it was probably a little weaker. The pump was probably a little weaker. And similar thing, too, with the Mossberg 500. When they first came out, they, too, only had a single slide rail, and that remained the case for 30 some odd years. So my guess is once the Maverick was updated, the Mossberg must have been updated around that time as well. So the Maverick is made in Texas, while the Mossberg is made in Connecticut. The Maverick has been around since the late 80s, while the Mossberg has been around since 1960. Most parts of the Maverick are actually made here in the United States, with a few cheaper parts imported from Mexico and a few other places, I'm not sure which ones, while with the Mossberg 500, all the parts made here in the United States. Now with both guns, you can find them in both 12 and 20 gauge. With the Mossberg 500, you can also find them in 410 bore, and from 1963 to I don't know when, a 16 gauge variation was actually offered, but that has been long discontinued. And just so you know, this 16 gauge bottle opener is in no way congruent to an actual 16 gauge shotgun shell. And since both shotguns are so close to being identical, so many parts are actually interchangeable. Now, one of the most notable and biggest exceptions would be the trigger assembly, and that is due to the different safety systems they have. And there you go. A very simple, bare bone, and yet reliable, rugged, and useful shotgun. You know, you can use it as a truck gun, you could even just use it as a beginner gun. Yeah, everything I've heard about it and every review that I've read has had nothing negative to say about it. But any slight little drawback it may have had, I really do not think is a deal breaker necessarily. And I personally have had no issues with this thing, and I honestly have no regrets buying this. However, if I could own only one shotgun, it probably would not be a Maverick 88. But which make and model would it be? I have not yet decided.